chill of an Illinois autumn, 1956. A night air thick with the scent of burning leaves and the faint, unsettling laughter of children on the cusp of mischief. This was Halloween, a time for innocent frights, for costumes and candy. But for one man, this particular Halloween would shatter his world, plunging him into an unimaginable darkness, a darkness from which he would miraculously emerge, forever marked by an unseen, unpunished hand. This is the story of Neil Boyler, and the night a simple Halloween prank became an act of profound, life-altering terror. But before we unveil this story, make sure you hit the subscribe button so that you won't miss out on this type of story. Imagine, if you will, the vast inky blackness of a rural highway. It's the evening of October 29th, 1956. Neil Boyler, a seasoned semi-truck driver, a man whose life depended on his eyes, on his unerring ability to navigate the shifting shadows of the road, was behind the wheel. The rhythmic hum of the engine, the glow of the dashboard lights, the endless ribbon of asphalt stretching out before him. This was his world. He'd seen 1,000 nights like this, driven 1,000,000 miles, his focus a honed instrument against the solitude. But tonight, something was different. A flicker of movement on the horizon, approaching fast, too fast. Headlights glaring, a vehicle hurtling towards him from the opposite direction. Neil, accustomed to the unexpected, gripped the wheel. He couldn't have known that in that other vehicle, a group of restless souls, fueled by the intoxicating spirit of mischief night, were preparing to unleash a terror far beyond the scope of a childhood prank. In the mid-20th century, Halloween was undergoing a dark transformation. What began as harmless trick-or-treating often devolved into acts of increasingly dangerous vandalism. In communities across America, particularly in the Midwest, Mischief Night on October 30th had become an unofficial holiday for teenagers. Soaping windows, egging houses, tipping over outhouses, these were the lighter end of the spectrum. But the thrill of transgression, the anonymity of the night, and perhaps a burgeoning, unacknowledged sadism often push these youthful escapades into truly dangerous territory. Newspapers from the era are riddled with reports of slashed tires, broken streetlights, and even more sinister acts. In 1952, just 4 years before Neil's ordeal, 2 children tragically died in Wisconsin when their car crashed because stop signs had been removed as a Halloween prank. The perpetrators, like those who would target Neil, were never brought to justice. It was against this backdrop of escalating fun that the vehicle surged past Neil's semi. In a blur, something huge, dark, and impossibly solid detached itself from the passing car. There was no time to react, no time to swerve, no time to even comprehend. A colossal concussive crack ripped through the quiet cabin. The windshield, a fortress of glass, exploded inward. Imagine the sound, a deafening roar, like 1,000 shattering plates, followed by the sickening rain of razor-sharp shrapnel. Neil Boyler, a man who had faced down blizzards, navigated icy mountain passes, and dodged countless hazards, was suddenly, inexplicably, under attack. The force of the impact was so immense that it not only pulverized the windshield but propelled shards of glass deep into the most vulnerable part of his being, his eyes, his face. The pain must have been instant, blinding, agonizing. A fiery agony that seared his vision, replacing the familiar road with a kaleidoscope of crimson and black. Blood, warm and slick, streamed down his face, mingling with the sting of countless glass splinters. Yet, amidst the chaos, the primal instinct of a seasoned driver kicked in. Neil, his world now a swirling vortex of pain and encroaching darkness, somehow managed to bring his multi-ton behemoth to a safe, controlled stop on the side of the road. It was an act of sheer will, a testament to decades of honed reflexes, performed in the most horrifying circumstances imaginable. The immediate aftermath must have been pure hell. Alone in the desolate darkness, his face a canvas of lacerations, his eyes pierced by countless foreign bodies. Every blink, every movement, a fresh surge of agony. The fear, the bone-deep terror of a man who suddenly couldn't see, whose livelihood, whose independence, whose very perception of the world was threatened. Over 50 pieces of glass, large and small, had embedded themselves in his eyes and face. 50 fragments of shattered reality, threatening to steal his sight forever. The journey to the hospital, the examination under harsh, sterile lights, the meticulous, excruciating process of extraction, these would have been a blur of suffering. Doctors worked against the clock, their specialized tools carefully plucking out each deadly shard. It was a delicate dance, a race against permanent damage. Neil's world hung precariously in the balance. Would he ever see the open road again? Would he ever recognize the faces of his loved ones? Would the darkness that had descended upon him be permanent? Miraculously, against all odds, the doctors succeeded. They saved his eyesight. Slowly, painstakingly, Neil Boyler began the long, arduous journey of recovery. The physical wounds, though deep and scarring, began to heal. But what about the invisible wounds? The trauma of such a sudden, unprovoked attack, the feeling of vulnerability, the chilling realization that a moment of fun for someone else had almost cost him everything. The psychological impact of near blindness and traumatic injury is profound and long-lasting. Victims often grapple with intense anxiety, a pervasive fear of recurrence, and a feeling of profound insecurity. The world, once a place of familiarity, can become a landscape of potential threats. The loss of even temporary vision can erode independence, leading to feelings of helplessness and isolation. Neil, a truck driver whose life revolved around his visual acuity, would have faced an existential crisis. Even with full recovery, the memory of that blinding pain, the terror of that sudden darkness, would forever be etched into his mind. A phantom sensation, a constant, chilling reminder. He might have experienced vivid flashbacks, nightmares, and a hyper-awareness of his surroundings, always scanning, always anticipating. The trust he once held in the world, in the basic safety of simply doing his job, would have been irrevocably shattered. But perhaps the most infuriating, the most deeply unsettling aspect of Neil Boyler's ordeal was the chilling silence that followed. The perpetrators were never identified. They vanished into the night, leaving behind a shattered windshield, a traumatized man, and a lingering question that echoes through the decades. Who were they? Consider the mindset of those young individuals. Why would a group of teenagers engage in such a reckless, potentially lethal act? Psychologists suggest that dangerous pranks, particularly among youth, can be fueled by a complex mix of factors. There's the thrill of the forbidden, the desire for an adrenaline rush, the feeling of power in anonymity. But beneath the surface, there can also be a darker impulse, a form of displaced aggression, where individuals seek to restore their self-view or save face by inflicting suffering on others. Perhaps they felt insignificant, disrespected, or simply bored. The anonymity of the group, the perceived lack of consequences, can lower inhibitions, transforming youthful mischief into sadistic cruelty. Did they know the pumpkin would shatter the windshield? Did they care? Or was the intent simply to create chaos, and Neil Boyler was just an unlucky target in their twisted game? The silence of their identity is a haunting void. Did they ever learn the extent of Neil's injuries? Did they ever feel a pang of guilt, a tremor of remorse, or did they simply move on, their lives untouched, while Neil carried the scars, both visible and invisible? The fact that they were never caught means they never faced accountability. There was no justice for Neil Boyler in the courts of men, only the silent, internal battle against the trauma they inflicted. In the decades since, Halloween has continued to evolve. Communities have worked hard to foster safer, more organized celebrations, emphasizing treats over tricks. Yet the underlying potential for dangerous behavior, for senseless acts of malice disguised as fun, remains. Neil Boyler's story stands as a stark reminder of the fragile line between harmless mischief and profound, life-altering harm. It's a testament to human resilience in the face of unimaginable terror and a chilling, enduring mystery of an unpunished crime that nearly cost a man his sight, his livelihood, and perhaps a piece of his soul. The roads Neil Boyler drove were never the same. Every passing car, every fleeting shadow, every unexpected sound in the night carried with it the ghost of a pumpkin, a shattered windshield, and the chilling anonymity of those who sought only a laugh and nearly left a man in eternal darkness. And somewhere, out there, the individuals responsible lived out their lives, their secret perhaps buried, perhaps festering, a quiet testament to a Halloween night that truly earned its reputation for fright.